If you're under 30 right now, it might feel like everyone is yelling the same message at you. There's this overwhelming pressure to find your passion, to build your empire, to turn your hobbies into income. And that usually equals a lot of us feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to find our life's purpose. And instead of being helpful, a lot of this advice ends up feeling more like homework that we didn't sign up for. So in this video, I want to break down why the traditional idea of finding your purpose usually backfires, and then give you a more realistic, healthy way to actually figure out what you're meant to do. Finding your purpose early definitely feels like a pressure cooker. And what I mean by that is it genuinely feels like there's a timer to turn our lives on now. A lot of the times by 22, people say you're supposed to have your dream job. And by 25, you're supposed to have your passion figured out. And by 30, well, at that point, you better have a full career, kids, a relationship, a side hustle, investments, and be rich. And that's the narrative that a lot of us grew up with. And what makes it worse is social media. If you open TikTok or Instagram, it looks like every single 24-year-old is either a millionaire or a digital nomad or a founder of a company or running a passion-driven business from a rooftop in Dubai. And meanwhile, you're over here just trying to figure out what you enjoy and put food on the table. And what most people don't realize is this type of pressure that's created is not motivating. For a lot of people, and for me in particular, it does the exact opposite. So when you feel like you need to get it perfect on the first try, well, at that point, you get terrified to start anything at all. You end up doing nothing because the idea of choosing quote unquote wrong feels fatal. So instead of helping you find your purpose, the pressure actually shuts you down. And there's this overwhelming myth of this Eureka moment, right? Most of us were taught that at some point we're going to feel this dramatic moment. Like one day the sky's going to open up, a beam of light's going to hit us, and we're suddenly going to know our purpose. But let's be honest, real life does not work like that. Purpose is not a lightning bolt. It's a very slow build-up over time. It's tiny breadcrumbs that you're going to follow through life without even realizing it. It's the things you're curious about, the people you admire, the work that energizes you instead of drains you. And here's the mistake. Most people treat purpose like one single, fixed destination that they need to find at 22 years old. But your purpose is going to evolve. It changes with new seasons of your life, and it grows as you grow. So if you cling too tightly to one idea of what your purpose should be, you end up boxing yourself in. And the worst part, a lot of people try to think their way into purpose. They journal, they overanalyze, they take personality tests. But the truth is, purpose comes from experience, not analysis. You don't figure it out by thinking, you figure it out by living. And then there's this trap of external validation. Another thing that messes a lot of people up is basing their purpose on what other people value. A lot of people chase careers that sound good to other people and not feel good to themselves. They pursue titles, not interests. They want jobs that impress their parents, their classmates, their Instagram followers. And because of that, they end up in purpose-driven careers that are really just rebranded rat races. They look meaningful on the outside, but they drain you on the inside. And when you chase that external validation, well, at that point, you're not actually searching for purpose. You're searching for applause from other people. And the dangerous part of that is external success can trick you into thinking you're fulfilled until one day you wake up and you realize you built a life that looks great, but honestly it feels very empty. So purpose has to be internal before it can ever be external. So let's get into some steps here that actually will go through ways to try to find your purpose. Now, these are 7 steps that I think can help a lot of people. And the first step is to follow your curiosity and not a plan you put in place. A lot of people feel stuck because they think they need this massive 10-year plan to even get started. They think purpose arrives only after you map out your entire life. But the reality is most people who end up doing something meaningful didn't start with clarity at all. They started with curiosity. And curiosity, once again, is like those little breadcrumbs your life drops for you. It shows up in the topics that you naturally find yourself researching, or the things you naturally find yourself, ranting about, or the weird hobbies that you wish you had more time for. Maybe the problems that frustrate you more than they should. Most people ignore those things because they feel too small or not serious enough in the moment. But that's the whole point. Purpose usually starts very small. So every big passion begins as a tiny little spark that you usually don't think much about. And when something continues to pull your attention over and over again, well, at that point, that's not random. That's your brain saying, hey, look here. And the funny thing is, the more you follow those small pulls, the more they compound into large clarity. So curiosity very much is direction. You just have to trust it enough to follow it without needing the whole map at first. So the next step would be look at what you're naturally good at but don't value yet. The crazy thing about purpose is that it's often hiding inside the strengths you brush off because they feel too easy. We have all done things that we're just naturally good at. Things we've done our whole lives without realizing their actual skills. But because they come so naturally, we convince ourselves that they don't matter or that everyone else is just as good. Maybe you're the friend that everyone comes to for advice. Maybe you're the one who's calm under pressure. Maybe you're the organized person. Maybe you're the one that is really good at explaining things clearly. Maybe you're the creative, artistic one, but downplay it. Or maybe you're the problem solver in your group without even trying. Those things are not random. Those are little signals that build towards your purpose. And a lot of people struggle because they try to force their purpose into something that doesn't align with who they actually are. But when you start to lean into the things you're already wired for, well, at that point, everything becomes a little bit easier. Your strengths aren't accidents, they're clues, and purpose usually sits right next to those strengths. Step number 3 is you need to put yourself in rooms that expand you. Purpose does not grow when everything around you stays the same. You cannot discover who you're meant to be if you're stuck cycling through the same routines, the same conversations, the same job, the same environment. You become a slightly improved version of your old self, but you'll never truly become a new version of yourself. And real clarity comes from when you put yourself in new rooms, places that show you different versions of life that you had no idea even existed. A new job, a new hobby, a new city, a new group of friends, a new challenge that maybe you didn't feel ready for. All of these things stretch who you are as a person. They make your world bigger, and when your world expands, well, you naturally expand with it. And most breakthroughs don't happen in an area of comfort. They happen when you step into a space where you're not the most skilled or you're not the most knowledgeable, but you're curious. New environments show you possibilities where your old environments were never capable of showing you. Step number 4 is to study what drains you versus what gives you energy. And this one's huge because we're always told to chase what we love, but no one talks about how powerful it is to track what completely drains you. Every path in life has hard moments, but not all hard moments feel the same. Some challenges leave you exhausted and completely checked out, and other ones strangely leave you fulfilled and wanting more. And a lot of people could find their purpose faster if they simply paid attention to their energy. When do you feel the most alive? When do you feel like time is just flying by? When do you feel proud afterward? And on the flip side, when do you feel like your soul is just being sucked out of your body? Those moments matter. Your energy is more honest than your logic. You might convince yourself something is the smart or safe path, but your energy is going to be the thing that truly tells you instantly. And when something lights you up, even when it's difficult, that's a sign you're moving in the right direction. When something constantly drains you, no matter how much money you're getting paid or no matter how cool your title is, if it's constantly draining you, that's a sign you're moving away from it. For a lot of people, energy is going to be that compass. If you listen to it, you'll know which direction to point yourself towards to find your purpose. And step number 5 is do more things that scare you, but in a good way. I think a lot of people forget this, but the things you're scared to try are usually the exact things that matter the most. And I'm not talking about skydiving or if you have a fear of water or going scuba diving. I'm talking about that fear that you feel isn't always danger. Sometimes it is purpose trying to get your attention. The thing you keep thinking about doing, the business idea, the job application, the message you want to send, the skill you want to learn, the moves you want to make. You're not scared of it because it's wrong. You're scared of it because it's meaningful. And fear shows up when you're near something that could actually change your life. And most of us walk away from that feeling because we confuse fear with a stop sign. But it's really a signal. Purpose almost always hides behind the door you're intimidated to open. And most people never unlock their true purpose because they avoid the thing that makes them nervous. But purpose requires stretching yourself. You don't grow in comfort. You grow in motion, in discomfort, and in moments where you feel like you're slightly out of your league but still willing to show up. And step number 6 is you have to realize purpose evolves, but that's a good thing. One of the most freeing realizations is that your purpose is allowed to evolve. The thing that fulfills you at 22, to be honest, should not be the same thing that fulfills you at 27 or 30 or 35. You grow, you learn, you change, and that purpose changes with you. You hear a lot of people saying, well, the best advice is to never change. And realistically, that's not good advice at all. A lot of people get stuck because they're trying to force themselves into an identity that they've outgrown. They treat purpose like a lifelong commitment instead of something that shifts with every new chapter. But your purpose is a conversation with yourself and not a contract. Think about where you were 5 years ago. You're probably nothing like that person anymore. So why would your purpose stay the same? Let it change. Let it evolve as you evolve. And when you allow your purpose to grow with you instead of locking yourself into a box, at that point, everything will start to become more aligned and a lot less stressful. And step number 7, which is the last step here, is don't wait for clarity. And this one's big, right? This one's very important. Clarity does not magically appear before you take action. Clarity is something that you will create through action. You don't sit on your couch thinking your way into purpose. You will figure it out in motion. It comes from trying things, from experimenting, from messing up, from seeing what sticks and what doesn't. It comes from taking a small step and then another small step and letting the results teach you who you are. People who wait for confidence or wait for the perfect plan, well, those are the ones who stay stuck. But the people who might start messy and just, throw something at the wall till it sticks, even when they have no idea what they're doing, they are the ones who build confidence naturally. Purpose does not show up in your mind first. It shows up in your actions, your routines, and your efforts. So don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect idea or the perfect moment. Just start. Start small, start unsure, start nervous, but start. Because everything you want becomes clearer after you take that first step of action and not before it. So if you are watching this video and you don't know your purpose yet, I'm telling you, that's good. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're not lost, you're just exploring. The old traditional model of figure out your passion at 18 or 20 and stick to it forever is dead. The new model is very fluid. Explore, experiment, follow your curiosities, grow through small actions, and let your purpose evolve as you evolve. Purpose is not something that you discover in your head overnight. It's something that you are going to have to build through your daily choices, piece by piece, and it'll start to become a lot clearer. So you're definitely not late to finding your purpose. If anything, now is the perfect day to start. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.